Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Premier, Minister of National Security, the Honorable Michael Dunkley, JPMP, Shadow Minister of National Security, the Honorable Walter H. Raban, JPMP, Senate Superintendent Jerome Laws from the Bermuda Police Department. We have the Junior Minister of Community and Cultural Affairs, Mrs. Nandy Davis, and of course we have the lovely Director for the Department for National Drug Control. Good morning and welcome. I would like to also specifically mention we have Mrs. Judith Burgess and Mrs. Diane Gordon from the Bermuda Charities Coalition, and of course Dr. Rayner from the DNDC. Today, April 1st, is the start of Alcohol Awareness Month. Each year, CADA, Encouraging Responsible Alcohol Behavior, works to raise community awareness on responsible alcohol behavior. This year, we will continue to focus on educating the community about roadside sobriety checkpoints, what they will look like, what they're designed to do, and how they will benefit Bermuda as a whole. Some might say that the recent National Household Survey that our job is done, with 83.1% of the community's support on this particular initiative. We will share the research of best practices and the effectiveness of this important initiative on reducing the number of alcohol and drug-related fatalities during our jurisdiction. Additionally, we will work to encourage and support open dialogue between adults and young people and children about not drinking alcohol to at least the age of 18, and about responsible drinking of alcohol thereafter. Throughout April, we will host a series of presentations about how roadside sobriety checkpoints work, providing details on roadside sobriety checkpoints, social hosting laws, and the establishment of an Alcohol Bureau of Control, together with tips on how adults should talk to children and young people about alcohol. We began Alcohol Awareness Month this morning with CADA staff, board, and volunteers down on East Broadway, waving to all the motorists with Johnny Barnes. I encourage everybody to visit CADA.bm or go to our Facebook page, which will provide full details of this month's activities. I now invite the Premier Minister, Michael Dunkley, forward to speak. He will be followed by the Shadow National Minister, Superintendent Laws, and Junior Minister Outerbridge. Premier.
Thank you, sir. Good morning. Good morning, colleagues. It's a pleasure to be here this morning. The Department of the National Drug Control supports CADA's efforts to increase public awareness and the understanding about the dangers of drinking too much alcohol. As reported by the United States National Council on Alcoholism and Drug Dependence, alcohol abuse and alcoholism can affect all aspects of one's life. Long-term alcohol use can cause serious health challenges and complications, affecting virtually every organ in our body, including our brain. It can also damage your emotional stability, finances, career, and impact your family, friends, and the people that we work with. Even one drink can impair our judgment, leading to risky choices such as driving under the influence. Locally, data from the Government Forensic Laboratory confirms that during the period 2009 to 2014, alcohol or drugs were present in 75% of all road fatalities. This number is indeed alarming. As a community, we all know someone who is drinking too much alcohol. So let's take April as a month where we pay particular attention to addressing this major problem and carry it through the rest of the year. By addressing this concern, one's health can be improved by simply cutting back on the amount of alcohol we consume or making a commitment to stop drinking altogether. We also know that alcohol comes in the form of powder. Powdered alcohol, or palcohol, was recently approved for sale in some U.S. states, and manufacturers believe that this product will hit the retail shelves early this summer. I share the concerns of the many professionals that they have about the effects of this product and the effects it could have on underage drinking. Alcohol can easily be concealed, and it is difficult to detect its use. Underage drinking remains a concern for the community. Data from the Department of National Drug Control's 2011 National School Survey reported that 55% of youth have already tried an alcoholic drink by the age of 12. and some students reported that they had obtained alcohol from their parents. We can no longer view alcohol as an adult problem. It is a problem that impacts and affects us all. Today, Bermuda joins the U.S. National Council on Alcoholism and Drug Dependence in observing April as Alcohol Awareness Month. The 2015 theme is For the Health of It, Early Education on Alcoholism and Addiction. Getting help opens up new doors and opportunities. Confronting alcohol and drug problems in one's life gives you and your loved ones the opportunity to experience a healthier, productive, and more rewarding life. As the Minister of National Security, I am pleased that CADA, in collaboration with the Department of National Drug Control, is tirelessly working to rid Bermuda of the ills that are associated with excessive alcohol consumption, and we should all play our part. Thank you. Who am I doing the shuffle with? Come forward.
Thank you, Mr. Premier. Thank you, Mr. Premier, Mr. Santucci, and everybody who's here today. On behalf of the Progressive Labor Party, I want to extend my warmest greetings to you, and I thank CADA for hosting this important press conference. Road safety seems to become a priority only when we have a spate of fatalities or injuries. Yet, it is something that each of us must begin to prioritize, and not just when it hits the headlines. And we must not only think about it, we must act about it. First, in the way we conduct ourselves on the roads, and in the commitment we make not to put our lives at jeopardy, or ourselves, when we risk driving drunk. Yet history has shown us that individual actions and individual responsibility simply is not enough. When so many of our people simply just don't seem to get it. And the stats that the Premier reiterated today seem to suggest, with 75% of fatalities associated with drinking, people are just not getting it. They simply don't understand that their poor driving and unconscionable decisions have consequences, sometimes fatal for themselves and others. That we must carefully consider the proposals of CADA that they are bringing to the table, and we must make it the national discussion on making real, lasting, positive change on our island's roads, and our habits and our behavior. CADA's push for roadside sobriety checkpoints are just one of the measures being brought forward, and we appreciate the approach that says this isn't just about catching drunk drivers, getting them off the roads, and adding a few dollars to the public purse. It's about raising awareness. It's about creating opportunities to change behavior, and also to create an atmosphere where individuals aren't being profiled or singled out unnecessarily. Mandatory alcohol testing at the scene of road accidents that involve injuries isn't just good policy, it's actually just plain common sense. The creation of an Alcohol Bureau of Control to have a one-stop shop to regulate and oversee all aspects of alcohol sales and licensing and oversee events is an idea that reforms our current antiquated system, brings Bermuda into the 21st century, and will enable much better oversight. Social hosting legislation to address the fact that our young people are usually first introduced to alcohol at home, and that we often are not conscious of our responsibility when we have a party or when we host other activities that include alcohol in our homes. This legislation would not only modernize our laws, but would also reinforce the value that most of us are taught when we are children, that we are our brother's keeper. These ideas espoused by CADA and the ones that we in the PLP are glad to support as being raised, and we look forward to other new ideas that are being brought to the table to be debated and implemented for the good of all of our people. I thank you for inviting me to participate in this very important press conference. Thank you.
Honorable Premier, Honorable Ministers, ladies and gentlemen, it is with pleasure that I stand here today to offer a few remarks on behalf of the Commissioner of Police, Mr. Michael De Silva. Alcohol abuse is directly linked to a wide range of problems and tragedies because of its negative effect on decision-making, attitude, and behavior. Sadly, we are all too familiar with these issues in the policing environment in Bermuda. We deal with the victims of domestic violence and their abusers. We deal with violence and assaults that occur in and around licensed premises and our sporting clubs. We deal with antisocial behaviors that create noise, litter, graffiti, loitering, and other nuisances in our neighborhoods. And of course, we deal with the victims and perpetrators of the many road collisions which are often the result of driving while impaired by alcohol. It will be obvious to most of us that the last few years have been stressful times for the island and the Bermuda Police Service. The fight against gangs, guns, violence has meant that some areas of policing have had to be sidelined and resources moved into the front line of gang and violence reduction. We have had some incredible results in this area, with a conviction rate of over 75% and an incarceration rate even higher, but at this time, we took a step back to look at our environment and to recognize that we are not in the same environment that we were 2 years ago. We realize now that the time for us to check in with the public again and find out from them what are their top priorities. One area in particular that has been highlighted by the public is the area of road policing. No one is suggesting that we can afford to go back to the 1970s when around 30 officers were patrolling on motorcycles and issuing tickets. However, what is clear, the Bermuda Police Service can and will do more to prioritize our resources in this area. When this many of our people are dying on the roads, we cannot continue to focus all our efforts elsewhere. The Bermuda Police Service recently unveiled its road policing strategy. At the center, the plan calls for robust enforcement from the police that is intelligence-led. We will target drivers and the behaviors that present the greatest threats to safety on the roads, and we will conduct the enforcement in these areas where the dangerous driving occurs most frequently. But the police cannot be everywhere at the same time in Bermuda, and Bermuda cannot police its way out of this problem. In addition to enforcement, the strategies provides two other opportunities to engage drivers to influence changes in their own behavior. Firstly, at the front end, prevention and education must be designed to create safer drivers. Secondly, at the back end, rehabilitation must be designed to deter traffic offenders from reoffending. These three areas of approach, education, enforcement, and rehabilitation, are designed to work in concert with one another to provide multiple solutions from across the full spectrum of our community. The strategy has a main goal of saving lives by reducing collisions and making our roads safer. The role of the police in this area is, of course, primarily one of law enforcement, but in every case where we act to enforce the rules of the road is after the fact. The damage has already been done, and in most cases cannot be undone. No amount of punitive action, no amount of jail time, no amount of monetary fine can ever bring back a life or heal the scars of a road traffic collision, both physical or emotional. Today, Bermuda is mourning the unfortunate death of another young person in our community as a result of a road traffic collision. On behalf of the Commissioner of Police, the members and staff of the Bermuda Police Service and the Bermuda Reserve Police, I would like to take this opportunity to extend our condolences to the family. There's much work to be done in the area of education and prevention, and we can support CADA in this fight to get all of Bermuda involved. We also support CADA in their call for roadside breath testing for motorists, as this has been proven a deterrent tool in other jurisdictions. We also support CADA's goal of establishing an Alcohol Bureau of Control to focus on ensuring that liquor license premises are complying with legislation. We are also working to support CADA, bars, and other organizations and establishments with the introduction of new ways to reduce underage drinking. To close, I'd like to say, on behalf of the Commissioner of Police, the officers, and all the staff of the Bermuda Police Service and the Bermuda Reserve Police, that there is still much that needs to be done for Bermuda to change the culture of drinking and driving that is outside the remit of the police. We are proud to be working together with CADA in promoting this year's Alcohol Awareness Month, and I look forward to our continued success in partnering with CADA and the Bermuda public in making Bermuda safer.
Good morning. Let me also first offer my condolences to the family and friends of the young man who lost his life last night. It is tragic that another young life was cut so short. 3 months into the year, we have already had 3 deaths. History tells us that we can expect another 7 deaths this year, a statistic that is totally unacceptable and must change. I am sure we've all heard Bootsy's song, Bermudians Love to Drink. But the song pokes fun at our culture of partying and drinking, but alcohol is no laughing matter. As a young Bermudian, I like to have the occasional drink, but with adulthood comes responsibility. Once we reach 18 years old, we are legally able to drink. We also must be responsible for our own actions. Becoming drunk and disorderly in public is now something that may follow you for the rest of your life. As we have seen in the last few years, bystanders film events that have taken place outside of Bermudian bars. I'm talking about alcohol-fueled brawls, people passed out on sidewalks, and so on. These photos or films can go viral and haunt you for the rest of your life. Is it really worth it? Bermudians also like to drink and drive. I know we young people think we are invincible on the roads, but occasionally trees and walls do jump out into the roads and they do hit us. But all too often we think, it won't be me. It seems we don't learn from others' mistakes. As others have identified, the deaths on our roads are a national health crisis. We average about a death a month, and over the last 10 years, well over 100 people have died on our roads. This is one of the highest road fatality rates in the world, and it must stop. Alcohol plays a part in many road accidents that result in property damage, injuries, sometimes serious lifelong handicaps, and all too often, death. It is incumbent on all of us to ensure that our friends don't drink and drive, take their keys, call them a cab, sleep on a sofa. It's not worth risking your life and others. We must be our brothers and sisters keepers. We must change our culture so that it's not cool to be a drunken fool. Thank you.
There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your time this morning. That concludes our presentation. I would like to thank the Premier, the Shadow Minister, Inspector Laws, Junior Minister Otterbridge, and the Director, and all of you for coming out today. We're going to take one group picture, and I think we'll be in good standing. Thank you once again for coming today.